Starting out the warm-up here is the A-skip. This is it in full speed. So we're looking to achieve this position right here. Toes up, heel up, knee up. Just fire to the foot, back into the track. Athlete is thinking about stepping over the opposite knee, punching straight down. As a coach, we're looking for the arms to bend and then straighten as they pass the body. We're looking at the hip to make sure it's moving up and forward. With each movement, we're looking for the knee to flex in the air and then extend back into the ground. Here's the B-skip. Here the athlete is thinking about extension. The A-skip, we're putting the foot right back in the track, but here we're really looking to see what's happening at the lower hamstring to upper calf, how those two muscles are working together. So we're still looking for the same arm movements, and just looking for extension. This is the backward skip, looking to see how well the athlete can coordinate moving backwards in space. I would like to actually see a little bit more extension in the back. We're trying to fold the knee, kick our butt, and extend as if we're really activating that back glute. I do a poor job of this. I see the back hip fully extend, reach out, and land flat-footed. Now we force the athlete to slow down, do the same movement. This also allows the coach to see what's going on in terms of their posterior chain and how it syncs up with their anterior chain. So you can see I do a much better job here of extending and reaching back. We're also looking at what the arms are doing. Looking at head, making sure it's in neutral alignment with the spine. We're asking that the athlete keep their feet and toes very dorsal flexed and landing flat-footed, not on our toes. And we're asking them to keep focused throughout the whole movement. Now we switch towards lateral movements. And this is specifically in here because most people rush through the karaoke and they don't get the full benefit. Also, by slowing it down, the coach gets to see how the athlete moves from side to side. Since we spend so much time moving forward, it's important to move in the lateral direction to see what is going on at the hip, how it is able to move in all directions. Here we're asking the athlete to land flat-footed again, asking them to keep their hands on their hips to make sure that their hips stay in not only a neutral alignment, but also so that one hip does not advance ahead of the other. We want the hip to remain in direct alignment with the other hip. It's common for one hip to dump or drop, and putting our hands on our hips allows our hips to stay in our focus. We feel when the hips fall out of alignment if our hands are physically touching them. Now we continue to slow down karaoke, and we see what's going on in front of the hip. So as you can see, as my foot is about to contact the ground, you can see it's rotating. Ideally, we want to keep that foot straight, but this tells you what's going on further upstream at the hip. Something might be tight, that joint might be out of alignment. Slowing it down allows us to see things that we wouldn't normally see at full speed. So this really shows us what is happening in front of our body laterally. Here is the classic karaoke. It is common for athletes to look down and check their feet, but we want a neutral alignment with the head, so instructing athletes to keep their eyes up, pelvis neutral. Here we're looking for symmetrical movements in the hip when they cross around back and when they step over. This is good for an athlete who is a little injured. You can slow this whole warm-up series down and make it a walking drill, and you can see what is going on with their hip. This is the butt kick, classic warm-up protocol. We're just looking to see that the athlete fold the knee and literally try to kick their butt. From a coaching perspective, we just want to see that the hamstring is able to contract, and we want to also know if the athlete can maintain flat contacts, flat rolling contacts, just like we do in walking. We want to also make sure the athlete's pelvis doesn't get too posteriorly rotated. This exercise is called an ankle dribble. The point of this exercise is to mimic sprinting, but reduce the range of motion. This is great for warming up, as well as a plan B alternative to sprinting. What we're looking for the athlete to do is to step over the opposite ankle. We're looking for them to push vertically. We're looking for them to land flat-footed and roll through with a dorsiflexed ankle and toe. This here is a calf dribble. So the athlete is actively trying to step over the opposite calf. Similar to sprinting, we're also trying to push vertically. Depending on the athlete, we would also look for them to displace their center of mass more horizontally with this exercise. But in the warm-up, we are looking for flat contacts, dorsal flexed ankles and toes, a little bit more arm movement here. We're looking at the hip to make sure it's undulating and oscillating. This is a dribble over the knee. This exercise closely resembles sprinting, so it should be included in your warm-up. We want to instruct the athlete to step down over the opposite knee, and any teaching we would do on the track, we would also want to cue here. So for cueing flight time or contact time, here would be a good opportunity to do so. This is a straight leg scissor bound. It's a good elastic exercise to use in your warm-up. Again, we're looking for contact phases, looking at flight time, looking for dorsal flexion of the toes and the ankle again. The athlete is just thinking about pushing the track back. And feeling the flight phase. Straight leg was focusing more on the hamstring, while the flexed leg scissor bound looks more at the relationship between the hamstring and the calf and how those are working together. You can kind of see a little asymmetric difference between one leg and the other. One leg sounds way more powerful and smooth than the other. Here is the high knee drill. All we're looking for is the athlete to punch the knee up and or push into the track to get the knee to rise. You can see I get a little sloppy with my ankle dorsiflexion. Again, we're looking for arms to pass through the full range of motion. This is a fast leg A march. Looking for rolling contacts. And the athlete is looking to perform an A skip every 3 to 5 strides. Same things we look for in the A skip still apply. We want toe up, heel up, and ankle up. Here's the same exercise, just with the B skip. We're looking for it to be a smooth rhythm. You can kind of see that I struggle to get into full extension. It should be obvious that the athlete is continuing to get faster with this drill. With this long lever, it should be used to speed you up. As you can also see, I'm also leaning back a smidge. Here is the leg swings. All we're looking for the athlete to do is raise their leg and swing it back and forth. We're looking to see if there's a symmetrical difference from one side or the other. But we're trying to get the athlete's hip to open up here. Now we're asking the athlete to open up his hip in the lateral direction. Different planes of movement. Same thing, we're looking for symmetrical both sides. And we're looking for the athlete to progress into more dynamic movement throughout the action. This is a trail hurdle drill to look to see what the hip can do when you force it into extension and bring it around the side. Asking for extension and to bring it around high. Here we call eagle. So you're trying to get your heel to your hand. Lets us know what's going on in the glute back region. Trying to make this also a dynamic movement. Where they hit the hand, sweep quickly, and reach the other. Here is an inverted bicycle. We're again looking to see what's going on at the posterior chain and just asking them to be on a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
Here we're looking to see how the legs move in two different ranges of motion. The athlete's trying to move the legs to the side and feel the warm-up, feel the stretches. This warm-up protocol helps the athlete to slow down and see what they need to be stretched out and see where they're tight. Here, we're trying to be dynamic again. We're asking for flat contacts. This, again, tells us what the hip is doing. Can it get the full range of motion? Tells us what the glute is doing. We're trying to keep the hips square with the shoulders. You can see I sort of lose my posture throughout the movement. Here's a donkey kick, actively trying to flex the glute. We're looking for symmetrical on both sides, trying to keep the hips square. I kind of open up too much. Here's a lunge exchange. The athlete is trying to alternate the feet in air and switch. Here you're trying to dynamically stretch the posterior chain as well as the hip. You roll, try to touch your feet, roll to the other side. Here, we're just trying to rotate in a circle with our hips to get them in a new range of motion. Rotate your hips to one side and then you rotate your hips to the other. 5 or so on each side. Then we do the same going to the side. You can kind of see a difference between me rolling to one side, this side in particular, versus this side. One way seems a little bit more tighter. Then you finish off with 3 to 6 strides. You're looking for a smooth rhythm. And each one just gets a little bit more intense. So depending on the day, these might be shakeout striders. Or if you're working on acceleration, you might really drive home getting better shin angles. But this helps you to finish off the warm-up and make sure you're ready to go.